Good evening, one and all. We're going to be doing a shorter session tonight. I was busy communicating about a possible commission. We'll see how that turns out. We're going to start off with some practice, and I want to see how fast I can try and create blocked out comic. We'll see. I won't write the wording that will go over it. I just kind of want to see what it would be like. Stand by just a second as I double check the audio. Okay, yep, it is operational. Greetings, Velexi. Hope you're doing well. Wonder why we had a second one there. I'm surprised that it was actually working. Well, much appreciated for the follow there. I would it's kind of interesting, Velexi. The Stream Elements was never really working, and so I got rid of it. It's weird that audio just played. Means it's still embedded somewhere in the in my OBS. So that means I have to go back and try and find it and swap it out. There'll still be something there, but it'll be homemade, so to speak. Sorry, I'm still dealing with the last little bits of a cold. Anyway, the process of trying to get Stream Elements to operate has been weird. Same thing with the Twitch features. But yeah, it's been actually the whole reason why Stream Radio exists is because of that. Can you pick a song? Well, there's not really songs per se. What you have instead is this right here. So this is the collection of stuff to be able to play. So for example, there is this music right here. We should cue in 3, 2, 1. Hey, good timing. Yeah, I can do that, Velexi. Let's see here. There we go. So this feature, which by the way, the audio is a little quiet on that one. I have to make sure to update that one. Oh no, that was correct. I forgot it gets louder. But this feature right here is something that people will soon be able to sign up for. Right now, there's a couple of folks that have access to it. The number is very small. But eventually, that is something people will be able to do. And be able to do things like add in sound effects.
I'm too weak. Oh, don't kill me, please.
I know. Other people have that through different tools. I had to make my own because I was having made too many problems with other tools. What is that? Stand by just a second. Something weird happened. All right, there we go. All right, we're back to doing the art here. So this little piece of artwork right here, this will be something that's just done kind of casually at the start of each stream, is trying to make some comics, some very simple comics. Now, I've been wanting to make some comics that explore some of the current trends in society. This one right here is going to be about AI. And oh, great, we have somebody advertising Best viewers. No, I don't think so, bot. Get out of here. Banned. Ah, golly. So wish that they would fix that on Twitch. Alas, maybe a couple years until that actually happens. It'll happen by people complaining about it, though. But so anyway, this explores a concept about what happens when we lean on AI too much. And so it's showing about how you can carry a heavy load, for example, with this guy right here. He's carrying a heavy load and it's bending his back. And the next is going to be dealing with a cart. Work is easier. And the next, we're going to have a machine do it. Oh no, you shouldn't be clicking on that, Veluxy. Never, ever, ever, ever click on that stuff. Unless you're talking about something else. If you're talking about what the bot was doing there, never click on what a bot is sharing. You can get yourself in serious trouble. In fact, somebody can take over your computer or your phone. And they can also steal from you by doing that. So always, always avoid that. Ooh, traditional art, says Void. Greetings, Void. I guess I'm the only viewer on YouTube. Yes, currently. Right now we have someone over on Twitch, and then there is you over on YouTube. These tend to be, quieter streams because I stream late in the evening for the most part. We have some streams that will be happening in the middle of the day, but those will be happening next month. But hi guys, indeed. How are things going with you, Void? And are you an artist? And if so, what is your preferred medium? For me, I prefer doing things in a more traditional sense. I don't even like this thing. I like drawing by hand, but I don't like drawing with a stylus. Honestly, I prefer a simple pencil. And we will be going to that later on this summer. I have the art table all set up, good to go. I just gotta get the camera set up. That will solve the problem eventually. But we do have a lot of crafty things that are going on around here right now, and of which is going to actually incorporate the logo of Castercraft onto t-shirts. I think that was high enough. I can't really see with the camera. My little viewfinder is a little too narrow. But anyway, I love adding ambient music while drawing. Indeed. Ambient music is a big part of being able to stay focused. All right, let's see. Something just glitched over here. What did I just see? You just saw a logo, the Castercraft logo that is on a t-shirt coming to a website near you. By the way, this actually is a good moment to take a quick little detour. I would like to show you the last week. This is going to be the last week this website is currently set up the way it is. We're going to be changing it drastically. Oh my goodness, the number of changes that is coming to this is something else. It has taken me a full year to update this thing. So this is the last week you're going to see the original concept for Castercraft. Starting next week, we have accounts coming, and we will start seeing some actual content starting to be placed in here. Right now, the content, very limited. It doesn't look like much. The whole new setup is something special, and I look forward to sharing with you folks soon. Again, this next week is going to start going live. The content won't all be there, but the new platform will be. I live in Arizona. Arizona is a very hot place. Speaking of which, I was in the exact reverse recently. I was up in the far north, freezing on the edge of Alaska. So I'm in more of the south central sort of area. Alaska is very big. And I went up to the very top of Alaska. So we got to be on tundra. I miss seeing the polar bears just by a day. Apparently they moved in and I missed that opportunity. But it was quite the experience. Something everyone should have the opportunity to try is to go to extreme locations. Whether it's a hot location, a cold location, a wet one, a dry one, something that gets you outside of your comfort zone. If you're in a city, try going into the wilderness. If you're in the wilderness, give a city a try. Now, granted, always want to go with people that you know and trust, because you never know what can happen. Get too far out of your comfort zone. Can you guess? Guess in what way? The only way I could do that had to do a lot more. Wait a second. AI, the only way I could do that was if you had to do a lot more work. Oh, you live in Arizona? It's 30 degrees in the Philippines right now. Ooh, 30 degrees. That's pretty warm. Indeed. I've never been to the Philippines. Closest I was Guam. Guam got pretty warm. I was not there for very long. And interestingly enough, the hottest place I ever was actually Japan. We got to a code black, which meant if the police saw you outside, they would basically escort you back to your home because it was just that hot and they didn't want to risk anybody getting severely hurt. And I know a couple people that would have still thought that to be, moderate weather. But no, code black is something I never want to be in again. I do not do well in hot weather. I do actually pretty well in cold weather, but Philippines is just outside of my probably comfort zone for temperatures. We actually have a lot of people living up here in Alaska from the Philippines. All right, see you later, Valexi. Rest well and see you next time, whenever that is. We're almost done for this quick sketch, and we'll be moving on to the actual project for the evening here. This is a shorter stream, like I mentioned about earlier, so it's not going to be anything too elaborate. I was busy trying to figure out a commission, so I didn't get it start at the normal time that I wanted to. But we are trying to return back to streaming 3 to 4 times a week. We'll see. We'll see if what each week kind of holds, but I'm going to be taking some time off from work, and during that time frame, I hope to be able to finish up some of the projects, of which I look forward to putting it onto the website. Some of it will be available directly from there, no problem. But there's some that are actually going to be, hopefully, products that I put out. We'll see how it goes. One of them is a pretty complex one, and so I can't really figure out the best way to put that out there right now, because it is a lengthy project. But that one's almost done. It's taken a year and a half to come up with the concept, and I think it's just about there. I need to get someone to help me edit it, and I have someone that I'm going to be trying to get to help out with that. We'll see how that goes. Every time I hit summer in the Philippines, it was just 35 degrees Celsius, but it feels like 43 degrees. That's severe. I do well in hot weather, but not that much in the cold. I love the different head sketches. Much appreciated. We have I'm still trying to get the hang of doing quick artwork, and I'm not very good at it right now. I've been in the process of trying to improve. I actually do far better when I'm doing pencil. So when I get my art table all kind of squared away and I have the scanning process figured out, it will be draw on the art table, scan it into the computer, color it that way. Okay, we're at the last stage of this one, but I'm just going to draw the character this guy is looking at. So there's something that has been troubling me greatly over the last couple of years in the art world. And that has to do with what this comic will eventually cover. And that is the concept of AI. For those that have been around for a while, which if you're watching right now or will be watching later on, you all have heard this story beforehand. But I can't stand AI. It is a horrible, horrible thing. And what it's been doing to our creativity is nothing in comparison to what it is going to do. I've seen the concepts that people are putting out there. I do work in a bit of a tech space, and so I do get to hear the ins and outs of what they're planning, and it is freaky. It is absolutely freaky what they're trying to do with this stuff. And I don't think it is a benefit. I think it is a absolute 100% curse to us. And I've seen it. I've seen it firsthand of how it has been taking people's skills and making us weaker. And that's the big thing about AI. We're getting weaker with every advancement. If you use your hands and you replace that with a tool, yes, I do have an antler that's right near me at all times. You replace it with a tool, well, suddenly you don't need the same amount of strength. I mean, that's fine. But what happens when you replace another muscle with a tool and then another? When do you call it quits? I draw it at the brain. The mind is the one thing you should never, ever replace. What does AI do? It tries to replace the one thing that we shouldn't. And that is pretty terrifying. Because the moment you surrender your brain, you can't reason with somebody. The machine thinks for them. And I've noticed that with people that are hardcore AI supporters. That's what this concept deals with, is this idea of what is it like to surrender yourself to a machine and how that makes you irrelevant. Now, human beings will always be relevant. I do believe it will balance out. But we're going to have a lot of people get hurt while our elites are experimenting with this stuff. And when they find out that it doesn't actually work long term, which I do believe, I would dare say thousands and millions of people are going to be hurt severely in that experiment. And maybe AI will continue to get worse and more dangerous. At which point, millions of people and maybe billions will be hurt. Yep, I agree. Indeed. It's not a lot of people that, the divide between the people that believe in AI and those that don't is becoming wider. Enough time has passed. We can no longer argue it away. It is now here, and we need to start drawing up the lines. And eventually, we'll hit the point where there will be a conflict. The question is, will it happen next year, or 5 years from now, or 20 years from now? Either way, the conflict between man and machine has begun. But it's not with this. The machine is not the enemy. It's the puppet master behind the machine. And that makes it a lot more manageable. Because you can reason with a human being. You can't reason with a machine. So if you stop fighting this guy and instead fight the machine that's behind, the puppet master behind the machine's worthless. And right now, that's where we're kind of going. I was at Amazon, and one day I walked into the place and they announced to us, much appreciated. I love art as well. New sub, much appreciated there. The eye is hard to make so much because the eye point of view, in my opinion, is really hard to try indeed. Can't for the life of me do different heads. Hey, practice makes perfect. It does indeed. Have a pleasant day, and we'll see you again whenever that is. But anyway, if you surrender to the machine, you will learn that you are the tool that was being used against mankind. The machine is just part of that. The machine only exists and only gets stronger because you give it that power. The commoner right now can defeat the machine by refusing to use it. All right, well, we'll return to this concept later on. We're going to open up the actual project for the evening. Better start operating. Okay, it looks like it's still there. Let's wait for it to see if it is operational. All right, yes, it is there. Okay, perfect. All right. Milo by the fire. This right here is the point of transition. The point of change. The moment where Mr. Milo becomes more than a roleplay character. this month, you'll know why. Tablet glitched on me. That happens from time to time, but it is happening more often as of late. I realize I better put Yukon in the background, because we don't want the audience to assume that because he's in the fire that somehow he is gone. Because everything else in this picture is a kind of a part of loss in one way, shape, or form. Every part of this element in this fire is part of the story, part of the overarching story of Milo. And as such, if you were to look at the story from start to finish, you will see a common thread among them. And you will find their origins more or less in this fire. There's a couple of things that are kind of left vague because the reveal is going to be far too well, the reveal needs to happen later. Because Milo's not set down for the night, gonna put his bedroll on here and his saddle. Very loosely put in here because we're going to be finding this part of the drawing. By the way, right now I'm just kind of rambling because I can. When do you call a project good enough? When do you say, you know what, that's it, I'm done, time to move on? I know a lot of people that kind of finish projects at a lightning pace, and I'm not one of them. I'm very slow, methodical about it. And you could say I'm too slow. I'm too methodical. Who cares, right? I mean, just make the darn story, basically. Just make the final product. Just get it over with. And I can understand that sort of sentiment. I've had a couple people kind of tell me that over the years. Thankfully, no one in this community. It's been very encouraging. But I do understand that that stuff does eventually wear out. I think I've been experiencing that a bit. And believe me, if I could, I would move faster. But I am not so gifted with speed to be able to go at the pace that I would really want to do. So, when a project is done, it will hopefully it will make sense why the projects take so long. If it doesn't make sense, well, I'm fine with it. I did it for a variety of reasons. But here's the biggest reason. I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I mentioned this to this audience, though. It's kind of unfortunate that I'm just rambling in the middle of the night. But the thing that inspires me is honestly, and causes me to want to press forward, is not self-recognition. It's to tell a story that I believe is meaningful and one that I think that God wants us to know. I don't think that they're necessarily divinely inspired in the sense of that I didn't receive like direction for how to make them. I kind of wish that I was, because maybe they would come out faster. But some people do claim that sort of stuff. I do not have that sort of ability. But I want whatever it is that I make to have its roots in the Christian faith. I want what I make to reflect the values that our modern day is spending so little time really cherishing, really considering. That's what this is all about. The story of Milo, the sci-fi story that I've been writing on. All these have their roots in what I would say is a concern that I have. Greetings, Enigmatic. How are you doing? And how is your family? I've been continuing to pray for you and your family, and hoping that things go well for you. I just got back from the North Slope, actually. Yesterday, I got back from Barrow, and it was a good experience. I missed out on seeing some polar bear, though, just by a little bit. I ate some muktuk, and that did not set well with my stomach, unfortunately. Long couple of weeks. Thanks, we really appreciate it. Well, keep us informed. And I look forward to hearing good news in the future with that. But anyway, it was quite the experience, and one that I'll probably be doing again in the future. I don't know when I don't know if it'll be next year or the year after that, but supposedly it's going to be taking place again. This rough sketch is almost done for the, almost ready to be sent over to the drawing table to be done by hand. I look forward to that part because I draw very poorly on the tablet. I mean, sure, this can end up being pretty decent, but when done by hand, it just with pencil and paper, turns out infinitely better. But so what I was mentioning earlier, I just want to wrap up that one thought about what inspires a story. Docs let us know they might have figured something out, but if they're right, it's scary as well. Well, part of the challenge is being able to find out what the problem is. And I can definitely understand the concern. Everybody goes through their health concerns through this life, and you definitely have our sympathy, and definitely will continue to have prayers as things go on. Hopefully they are able to find a solution. And if they can't, well, we know who can. Got to give it to God. Autoimmune thing. I can understand that. Being able to catch it, though, is definitely important. I had a friend where they eventually did catch something, but it was way later than they should have. And but the thing was that through the whole experience, the guy had an incredible ministry that he never would have had. His entire family ended up actually converting as a result, because they were a bit of an atheistic family. And then the health scare hit their family, and suddenly not only he had a transformation, but his entire family and his entire friend group had a transformation. It was quite something. The guy lived a very exciting, you could say, very exciting life in that sense. And he had a bigger impact than I think I will probably ever have. And part of that is because of the challenges that God put in his path. Sometimes things pan out perfectly, and sometimes, like for him, things end up being challenging, but it still ends up for God's glory in one way, shape, or another. But being able to catch stuff early on always makes it a lot easier to be able to navigate some of that stuff. So, indeed, gotta give glory to God for that. My roommate actually ended up having autoimmune challenge as well, and he's doing pretty well right now. for him, they kind of caught it early on too. I don't know all the ins and outs. I'm not a doctor. I'd never paid much attention to the medical world, and so I don't quite know how all that stuff pans out. But it is something where I did get to see kind of what he had to go through, and definitely about how things actually panned out pretty well for him. And so hopefully you and your family have the same sort of thing. One of the challenges for this drawing that I've been experiencing over the last couple of weeks is trying to find out the proper way to position everything in a meaningful way. Everything is image is supposed to carry some sort of meaning, and I overthink this stuff severely. But one of the things that this image right here of Yukon, this is helping to point us towards the future of the story and trying to convey some of the importance of why Milo's going northwest. I've been in constant pain for the last 17 plus years. I know it's part of God's plan, but it is very frustrating. I pray my son does not have to go through that. Indeed. 17 plus years, that is indeed quite the challenge. But you know the big benefit to all that, which of course I know you probably think about all the time, is the fact that we go through this life with a struggle, and then one day we are going to get to have brand new bodies that work perfectly, and we'll never have to worry about those pains and aches ever again. A couple of years ago, I experienced my first really hardcore pain, and it was with my teeth. Now, I've been blessed with fairly good health as a whole, but I have two weaknesses: my sinuses and my teeth. My nose has been murder during the summers. There were some years where I felt like I couldn't breathe at all, just because of how swollen everything would get. And people would look at me and you wouldn't really know about it, but it's because everything's all inflamed inside. But then, a couple years ago, I had the very painful realization that I had a mouth full of cavities. That was a very expensive process to try and get them fixed. And ever since then, one of my a couple of my teeth have been in horrible pain during mealtime. Thankfully, the pain has subsided, but I'm pretty sure that there's some teeth that probably are cracked in one way, shape, or form. And I was thinking about it a while back, thinking, I hate this, that I always have to be super careful, like when I'm eating, because if something gets back there, it's like causes everything to seize up. And it's like every time you eat something, it's like, oh, is this bread just like ever so crunchy? Is that going to cause that to set it off? And so I fully expect I'm probably going to have some pretty severe dental replacements in the future. But that kind of happens for most people these days. One of the benefits of living in an age with endless amounts of sugar. But anyway, I was thinking about it and realizing, I've forgotten what it's like to eat carefree. I used to be able to chow down food as a youth. It's one of the reasons why I got so big. But now, I'll never know that experience again. Kind of early on in life for that to happen. Or at least compared to my friends. But that being said, now I have to deal with that until I get brand new teeth. And no, a doctor will not do that. I mean, sure, a doctor may make some pretty good dentures. There might be some really sophisticated ones in the future. But it'll never be the same. Because teeth, as well as any other part of the body, can only be replaced by the one who created it in the first place. And that will be a wondrous day. Isn't it interesting? If we had perfect bodies throughout our entire life, we would probably not want Christ to come back. I've met people like that. They're like, why would we bother? Why? Life is perfect. Sure, life is perfect now, but eventually struggles will come along. Things will get hard, and eventually we'll all start to say, yes, come Lord Jesus, come. But if we spend so much time wanting to dwell in this world, man, we will eventually be like Lot's wife will look back at the place of sin and say, but I want to go back. When what God wants us to do is to leave and follow Him. We all will have to deal with some sort of pain, but it's up to us how we're going to approach it. All we can pray for is that we get a chance to do good in our struggle with those pains. By the way, how's the have you I remember the last time I heard from you was when you were on the river with your family. Have you had any good catches as of late? Any good hunts? I had some family members who went fishing the other day, and they unfortunately did not come back with with anything. They caught some carcasses, but that was all that they could get their hands on. So they took a picture with the bones of the fish and decided they would try and fish again another day. Good duck hunt a few weeks ago. I've had duck a couple of times. That's really good. There's a couple of foods that used to be like super common in our culture, and then modern age hit and we kind of lost that. One of those things is duck. Duck used to be so common, but now it's chicken that's super common. Although I must say, duck has a really good flavor to it. I had a duck stir fry a while back, and I think it was the last time I had it. It's kind of hard to go to the store and be able to get it, and we don't really have a whole lot of. Well, I'm not a hunter myself, so I can't go out and get it, and the options down here are kind of limited. But what I do get is plenty of salmon. At least that I got some fair skill in. Well, not skill necessarily, but I got enough to be able to get enough to be able to enjoy throughout the year. Interior duck tastes better than coastal from what I've heard. I will take your word for it because I'm not, as you know, I'm not, as I just said, I'm not very good at being able to find duck around here, and so I can't necessarily say one way or the other. They lose that fishy seafood muddy taste. Ah, now that would make sense. Trying to get an animal when it's like, you know, properly fed is definitely important. Apparently, when I was up in Barrow, Uktiavik, this last week, one of the things they were mentioning about is that they can't hunt geese for the majority of the summer just because it has a bad flavor, because it starts getting that muddy taste from the surrounding area. Greetings there, Bastion. How you doing? Oh, Bastion, who sometimes goes by the nickname the Duck, is now hearing us talk about eating duck. Poor Bastion. Salmon fishing on the Yukon has been almost completely destroyed, I've heard. Man, it is, we got to start protecting our coastline from fishermen that are from other nations that are not very restrictive in some of their practices, like China. I suspect most of our fish are getting damaged because of that. And also we got to, you know, help make sure that they all don't get fished out at the coastline. I don't know what the Yukon is like, but down here, they've had decent returns for the last couple of years. But I found out recently that most of it is because of Fish and Wildlife trying to get hatcheries around or things like that. They lose their fat up there as well. When they first show up in the spring, the birds are very fat. That is, yeah, I can definitely see that. I was surprised to hear that apparently the tundra has been like not nearly as lively as it used to be. Apparently they're like missing lemmings, and I didn't realize that lemmings were on the decline. Apparently they've been on the decline for many decades. But they've had a couple of bad years with lemmings up there, and apparently it's been impacting a lot of their food web up there. Got to go into into a permafrost tunnel when I was up there, and I saw really weird ice crystals on the ceiling. Let me draw a quick picture of what it looked like. There were some like crystals that looked like this. So it'd be like one layer of ice, and they would go in and go a little bit smaller and look like this, almost like a cone shape coming out. So it'd be kind of like this from the side view, but it would look like this looking down at it. But then there was another one that really surprised me. It wasn't the standard hexagon look. It was a rectangle. It was ice that was forming in rectangles. I expected it to be like the one up top, not the one on the bottom. But that's what it looked like. And I took several photos of it. I'm going to have to share that on the Discord sometime. But yeah, it was really surprising. Yukon River salmon grow up in Bristol Bay. It's hard life out there for our fish. Exactly. Things are changing. Low snow has an impact on the smaller wildlife. Indeed. Indeed. We'll have to see if there's a way to kind of help the fish rebound. One of the things that we are placed on this earth to do is to help tend to the land. One of the first things that mankind was tasked with was tending to the garden, and by consequence, tending as a secondary thing in that sense is tending to the earth as a whole. Hopefully, we're able to help save the salmon and find a productive way to be able to take care of them. I don't want it to become farm salmon. I'm not a fan of that. It doesn't taste nearly as good, and they're not nearly as healthy. But we got to find something to do. I'm just not a good enough expert to be able to know what the best strategy is. And I also don't think we necessarily have to have a government organization that has to do it. I think people can do it locally, but I'm not sure what that solution is. I don't know if it's like making protective areas in some of the lakes that salmon are found, or if it's looking out for the illegal fishermen on the coastline, which there are a lot apparently. We gotta figure something out. Want to keep enjoying salmon. When the rivers melt, it can form long shards of square-shaped crystals. Oh. Now that's interesting. I'll have to look at my photos again. See if there's some of that happening. Actually, I hope that my photos even turned out. I've not had a chance to look at them. I saw them on the viewfinder, but I don't know if the photos are good to go. So that's one of the tasks I have for this next week, is making sure that they're all squared away. Well, next week we're having the big change for the website. So expect there to be a couple of stream bugs that probably happen in that first week, because I'm going to be experimenting along the way. So some things may work as planned immediately, and others might need to go in for some repairs. But next week is the trial time frame for that. So hopefully it's relatively smooth. So this next month, we're going to be going back to the 3 to 4 streams a week. During that time frame, we're going to start wrapping up some of the projects that have taken forever for me to go back and kind of finalize and One of those is this picture right here, which was commissioned over a year ago, and now it's finally being done, which I know that probably doesn't necessarily matter in the same way to some folks, but I really wanted to have better skills for this one, and it took a long time for my art skills to improve. And also I wanted to get the backstory all figured out. But after this, we're going to be doing the next piece, which I still have my list, and I don't know if the people are still around that to request it, and if not, they will go on the shelf, and we will follow up with them when those folks eventually do return. If they return. If not, we'll just keep it on the back burner and await for them to give a yay or nay to the project. All right, my friends. I pray all goes well for you. I gotta crash. God bless, and thanks again for the prayers. Absolutely enigmatic. God's blessings to you and your family. Rest well, and may healing come to you and your family. See you next time, whenever that is. These legs are starting to cause me some problems. Maybe I shouldn't have drawn them in this sort of manner. I mean, it is a silhouette, so it's not like it's going to be, well, mostly a silhouette. It's not like it's going to be a real challenge to do there, I wouldn't think. I better pull up my horse. Well, actually, wait a minute. I think this is probably what's missing. Horses have more of a barrel chest, and I think I'm trying to make it too humanoid. There we go. That's much better. All right, so with the return of the with the art redeems, those will be tied to the updated Silverado. Now that won't be active immediately. I kind of want to test the system first before I make that part live. But people will have the ability to start making art redeem requests once again. Now, I really didn't know if I wanted to bring those back. I think it's probably best for the channel to have it back, but also because I knew several people that actually were looking for artwork, and now people want AI. I want people to still value traditional art. And so that's why I want to bring it back. It's fighting against the machine. It's refusing to cave to the AI. Even if it means more work, I would rather do that than surrender to the AI anymore. Anytime I get the chance to fight the machine, I will. I might not have the bandwidth to do it, but I'm still going to keep fighting the machine regardless. I like this brush. I don't remember where I found this one, but it actually is doing the job a lot more naturally than some of the other ones I've been toying around with. I wonder if this one now comes by default. That'd be interesting to bring in. All right. We're going to be going on for another 30 minutes, then we'll be wrapping it up. Maybe a little bit earlier. Basically, it'll be to the end of this sketch of the horse. It should be that next time I can print this out and start the process of actually adding it to the paper for the process of sketching it out in pencil. So with the next week, here's some of the highlights that you will expect to see. One is the new UI, which is going to be incorporated with all of the Castercraft site now. Your Silverado account will now be tied to your Castercraft as well. This is just a merger of how these things work together, because it's actually easier for me to do that than to separate them apart. That's the only logic. I'm a one-man crew. I got to find shortcuts, and this was a shortcut. Everything is super protected, and so it's not like we have anything sensitive around there anyway, but call it paranoia of what would happen if an AI decided that it wanted to investigate the site. I wanted to thwart the AI before it gets the chance of being able to do anything on the site, and so that's one of the reasons why that exists. It's not designed to try and be a platform that houses your information. It's not made for that. If you want to have stuff on there, I'm not going to try and prevent it, but if there is something on there, then it's locked down. But it's mostly things like, hey, did you like it? Then you can press a like button on it. If you want to comment, you have the ability to comment. Now, those two features are not going to be enabled immediately, but that's the reason why this whole system needed to have features between Silverado and the Castercraft side of that tied into one. There will also be more clear sort of directions about how. So besides the website, there's going to be more clear directions for the Discord, because we've had enough questions about how everything is kind of structured and how you become a wolf, which isn't a common request from people, but we've gotten it enough that I am sitting down and doing a complete rewrite of that. And you're going to see that in writing, so that you can be able to know, okay, this is what I have to do to become a wolf. This is what I have to do to become an alpha. And it will be very clear rules. There's already rules there, but there's no way to actually describe what you have to do to get to the next level. This is not gatekeeping. You're not going to see a paywall for that sort of stuff. It's only to help prevent nonsense from happening. That's really the only reason. Well, that and AI, but I think AI is a bit of nonsense anyway, so same thing. I find it a lot easier to do horses than I used to do, but I still get the proportions wrong. I'm trying to unify my designs better. That's not unified, but it's good enough for right now, so we're going to let him be with that. I did want to have something, the thing that Yukon is looking at, but that would give way too much away. And have the transition to the desert over here. So we have some of the grass that comes right up to that, and then peters out into some more arid terrain. It's just a bit of a hint of where he's coming from. I sure hope the pencil sketch of this turns out well, and thus, by consequence, the pen, because this is a lot of preparation, and it'll be a shame if that part becomes difficult. Alright, let's get rid of this. Alright, so that means we also have to get rid of the original. Okay, we can. Gotta get rid of that. Get rid of the old Milo there. Okay, we're going to keep the stars. Where's that black coming from? Oh, it is part of the stars. There we go. Alright, now this one is going to be our mask. Let's invert that. Let's start off by just doing this. Invert. There we go. This doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be enough so where we get the concept figured out. So I think I can do this right here. This drawing isn't necessarily how I envisioned it going. I wanted something a little bit different, but I am liking how it is turning out. Especially compared to where it was a while back. The original concept was looking very bad, and I was getting very discouraged that, oh no, this is going to be a failed return to art commissions, and lo and behold, it has actually been salvaged. That is definitely not of my own skill. That is God showing mercy to my inabilities. So I was mentioning earlier, I got distracted, and perfectly fine that happens. But I do want to finish the thought that I had from earlier, which is why it takes me so long to finish a story, or project, or anything like that. I'm striving to try and do it as best as I can. And sometimes that means that it takes forever and a day. And could it go better if I was to just not care as much? Yes, it could be. But it also could be a problem, honestly. If you try and make a project and you don't care about it, why should someone else care? Now, granted, nobody has to care, but it'd be a real shame if people who do care about a product looks at the person who created it and sees that they didn't care at all. And then they'd probably be saying something like, well, what was the point then? I have seen people say that about projects that have been done, looking at the artists and saying, why don't you see the potential that we do? I want to be able to look at it and say, I know what is possible, and I want to try and achieve it in such a way that it shows that I care about the audience that experiences it, and also that people get the chance to learn and grow from it as best as possible. All the projects I've been working on take me forever because I'm torn with this. Now, sometimes I don't put important meanings behind stuff. The Lego animations, for the most part, thus far, have kind of been that. Distracted was the first time of trying to add something in. The next animation is the same sort of thing. But the real hard stuff is the stuff I've been working on the side. And those ones have deep, deep meaning. And I want that meaning to have a purpose. Some people might not care about it. They might say, absolutely worthless. No need to go that hard on trying to perfect everything. To which I can completely understand. But I also understand what is possible. And I want to try and do something that surprises people. Something that makes people say, that was well worth the wait. Will that happen? I got no idea. You all will be my judges. Maybe it's because I don't have a whole lot kind of going for me in the sense of that I don't have projects that I look at and think, wow, I get to contribute to I don't have the sort of life circumstances that other people have. As such, I start to double down on what I do have. God doesn't give us all the same things. He gives some people one thing, He gives other people another thing. As far as I know, this is what God has given me. And I am not ungrateful for it. I very much am grateful for it. But it can be something where someone else can look at it and say, what is the purpose? Why do you care about that? About trying to get this stuff made? Because it's what I have. I see potential of being able to help others through this stuff. And that's all I can really do. If I was a leader among men, I might be focusing more on trying to do civic projects. Part of my problem is that I'm so opinionated that nobody really wants me to lead anything. I am not somebody who has a family that needs to be cared for, so I don't have that sort of responsibility. I'm not a captain of industry. I don't have employees that I need to worry about. I'm not somebody who has the we'll have a blessing that comes with a curse. My blessing is something that I think I understand now, and that's why I want to double down on it. Not because I'm trying to forge something that is just because it's different, not because I'm trying to force it to work regardless. I want to try and make it work because this is what I have, and this is what I want to try and embrace, for better or for worse. Maybe it'll pan out well, maybe it won't. But I think it would be wrong if, for this much time and effort invested, to not at least see where it goes. And we're getting very, very close to that time when I'll know one way or the other what is probably going to happen. We want this slightly discolored from the background, so that way when it prints, it will come out nice. Let's brighten up the background. We want this black to be less strong. Stars don't necessarily need to be perfect. I know exactly what some of the stuff is going to be. But there is one that I need to draw in. And that's going to show where Milo is going. All right. All right. We're going to give some time to think about this one before we finish it up. But anyway, we're going to end it there for the evening. We might be able to read somebody on Twitch. Let me see. Who is currently live? Nobody that we've rated in a long time, and so thus it would be kind of weird to go and read them right now. Besides, it would just be me over there. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you, folks, for coming by, and if you haven't already, be sure to pray for Enigmatic and his family. We are going to be back later on, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. Either way, we're trying to get this to be more regular, so thus some shorter streams, and trying to disperse them throughout the week a little bit more. Look forward to the changes this next week, and this next month we are going to bring about the announcement for the big project. Until next time, folks, have a very pleasant evening and morning, everybody. Be civil to one another. We will see you next time, whenever that is. Thanks for coming by, and if you haven't done so already, consider liking or disliking this video. That would be much appreciated. Just as long as we know that you were flesh and blood, and that you at least saw some sort of merit. Or if you dislike it, that's fine too. Until next time, folks, have a very pleasant evening.